Hello, welcome to the semifinal edition of Dish from the Pitch, brought to you by Midwest Orthopedic and Guinness. I'm your host, Jack Harold. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jason Kirkpatrick. We're here at the Irish Fest grounds this week.
That's right. The play and all the action this week was still up at the pitch as we geared up for the playoff games. Day got started with a little hurling for hurling's sake as the Shield match took on Slims versus Burks.
Yeah, the first game of the day was a Shield match between number 5 seed Burks and number 6 seed Slims. They'd met earlier in the season and it was a very tight, very low scoring game. This would not be the case this week, but there was a reason for it. Being that it was the last game of the season for both teams were determined to have fun. Burks, for their part, started pulling positions out of the hat, which meant that people ended up in some very odd positions indeed. Slims really ran away from it, though, from the get-go, getting a lot of points, a lot of goals. In the second quarter, Megan Neuenschwander bravely stepped up into goal, did a very fine job, great attempt. Unfortunately, the puck-outs taken by a fellow teammate were not that good, and she was getting hammered in goal all game. The second half was pretty much the same thing. Slims was just running away with the score. Burks, though, was happy as could be, having fun again out on the field. Lots of smiles to be had all the way around, especially on the full forward line of Slims, though. Mike Hamby, a gentleman that had been playing with the Hurling Club for approximately 18 years, had told everybody that this would be his final game. He was retiring. He's 60 years old, and he managed to get his very first goal in his very last game. It was a great game that ended with Slims up an incredible 10-15 for 45 points to Burks 2-3 for 9 points. A great time had by all. It was great seeing such a great guy end his career on a high note. Mike Hamby getting a goal in his very last game.
Absolutely. Bit of a Frankenstein line-out for this match too, but it made things interesting, and it was nice to see some lighthearted hurling amongst friends to end the season. On to the first playoff match of the day, Brocach versus All Tool Sales. This was one of the most physical games all season, right from the throw-in. All Tool started on the right foot by consistently driving the ball down into Brocach territory, coming away with a couple early points. But Bandit Mike Stute was quick to put a stop to that, though, with some really powerful clears. Brocach soon was up to their old tricks up front with Alec Fortier cracking in a point-blank goal to keep things moving along. All Tool wasn't about to let this game get away from them, though, and Jerry Miller was just the man to make that statement as he responded to the Bandits' goal with one of his own to keep pace. Fortier would again find the net late in the half to boost Brocach's lead to 7 points as the action broke for halftime. As play resumed, the unrelenting assault from the Bandits continued. All Tool keeper Andy Howe was making some nimble saves to back up the Legion, but with a mix of attacks spanning from midfield right up to the box, it was hard for the Legion to know where to focus their defense at times. Steve Berzina made his Bandits' presence up front known as he slapped a loose slitter right past the keeper's feet. A few points and another sloppy goal later, Brocach seemed to be running away with things, but the All Tool captains were still moving the ball well and finally snagged a much-needed goal early in the final quarter. Another goal followed soon after, only to be negated by the dreadful yellow flag in a crushing stroke of bad luck. The Bandits, though, had already laid the groundwork in the first half for a win and clung to that lead to keep them safe as time wound down on All Tool's season. The disparity of the final score did not reflect the level of play in this game, but Brocach comes out on top and takes the first spot in the championship match with a final score 4-13-25 to All Tool's 2-6-12 total points.
Brocach dominated yet again. From the throw-in, they're passing great, communicating great, just as they have been all season. They've definitely earned their spot in the playoff game, or in the championship game.
Yeah, and they'll play in the championship match in 2 weeks. Fantastic season for All Tool, though. They played great, just not enough today to take out Brocach. On to the second playoff match, Silver Spring House versus Shamrock Club.
The final game of the day saw the Shamrock Club Griffins facing off against the Silver Spring House Heavyweights, with the right to face off against the Brocach Bandits in the championship match. Heavyweights Tony Schultz and Captain Joel Ingebertson managed to start off the Silver Spring scoring, bringing them slightly ahead in the first quarter, 0-4 to 0-3 for Shamrock Club. Full of momentum and rooted on by an injured teammate, Pat McLeod, Silver Spring House Heavyweights kept up their momentum, adding another goal and several more points in the second quarter. Shamrock Club, though, likewise kept up with their aerial attack and kept the game very close. Eventually, the Griffins slammed a shot into the back of the net, giving them the first lead of the game. Silver Spring House got desperate. They started hammering for goals rather than taking the easy points that were offered them. This proved to cost them the match, as the Shamrock Club ends up winning the game and going on to the championship round with a score of 2-13 for 19 to 2-8 for 14. Talk about a tight game up to the half. It was anybody's game, even in the second half, although Shamrock came a little bit ahead. Silver Spring was right in it, and they were always a threat.
Yeah, Silver Spring having one of their better games going into halftime there, doing a great job of limiting the Griffin points, but you can only stop so many Vinny Maloney shots, and just too much firepower this time for the heavyweights.
Join us Sunday, August 24th for the MHC Championship match. That day is full of games, starting with the alumni game at 11 a.m., followed by youth matches at 12:30, then the championship game at 2 o'clock, followed by the Shamrock Club picnic, and a round robin at Brocach.
Also, congratulations to the winners of our homebrew competition, and thank you to all the MHC homebrewers who participated. It's always a treat to enjoy some of your tasty brews. Also, congratulations go out to all of the 2014 Captain's Awards winners. Good job helping out with your teams and helping this club move along.
Be sure to check out the online magazine version of Dish from the Pitch, featuring more comprehensive coverage of these games and more.
And be sure to stop down at Irish Fest and say hello this week. We'll see you next time.